From the MTSU Hall of Fame, it's Blue Raider Extra Point.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Abigail Martin alongside Noah Brady and Nick Frazier, sitting here in the Blue Raider Hall of Fame, ready to kick off another weekend full of football action. Let's go ahead and kick it off. TJ Warner has this week's starting lineup.
The starting lineup.
11th ranked Texas A&M travels to 15th ranked Ole Miss. The Aggies are coming off a dominant win over Auburn last week. This Rebels offense is one to watch out for, led by Matt Corral. They average 524 yards of offense per game. The Aggies are only allowing 14 points per game. This SEC matchup could be a very tight one down the stretch. 8th ranked Oklahoma goes on the road to 13th ranked Baylor. Baylor has not won in the series since 2014. Expect the Bears to come out quick after their upset loss last week to TCU. The Sooners will be led by freshman quarterback Caleb Williams. This will be a big-time in-conference matchup. 6th ranked Michigan travels to Penn State. Both teams got back on track last week with the win, but who can keep the momentum going into this week will be the real question. For the Wolverines, they will rely on the run game heavily, and for Penn State, they will rely on Sean Clifford making big plays for the offense. 16th ranked NC State takes on 12th ranked Wake Forest. This game will very well determine who goes to the ACC championship. The Demon Deacons had a disappointing first loss last week in a shootout. NC State has an offense that could go back and forth and match Sam Hartman and Wake Forest scoring. This will be a fun one to watch. 19th ranked Purdue goes on the road to 4th ranked Ohio State. Purdue has had 2 big upsets already this year on top 5 opponents. They also defeated the Buckeyes in their last meeting in 2018. Ohio State's Jackson Smith-Njigba had a crazy performance last week with 15 catches and 240 yards. The Buckeyes will look to prevent Purdue from celebrating another upset loss this week. I'm TJ Warner, and this has been the starting lineup.
Thanks, TJ. Great package there. Nick, what do you like in some of this weekend's showdowns in college football?
Well, I think this weekend's going to be an eye-watching type deal with Baylor and Oklahoma. You know, Baylor has been a team that's had to prove themselves all season long. But then you also have Oklahoma that's been college football playoff hopefuls, possibly. And, you know, with their quarterback turmoil with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams, who is now the starting quarterback for them, I think Oklahoma can do it, but Baylor's just been I guess, out of their minds. I don't know how to describe it. It's just something that I can't put my finger on. They just always contend every single week.
This is a game you can't really write off. There's a lot on the line in this one.
Yeah, it's whoever wins this game is more the fact that they're going to be a college football playoff contender. There's no doubt about it. But the other game I like also is Ole Miss and Texas A&M. I really love Matt Corral, but is he going to win Heisman this year? I feel like this is a game that's going to prove that point because Texas A&M last week, like I mentioned, I'll go on record saying I thought last week that Auburn and Texas A&M there's going to be no defense played whatsoever. There was. Texas A&M showed that they're a legit defense. I think if they can stop Matt Corral, Corral's Heisman hopeful can definitely be put on the back burner.
Two defenses definitely trying to establish themselves later on in the season.
Exactly. Hopefully Ole Miss can prevail if so, but if not, I mean, hey, good job for Texas A&M.
There you go.
A lot of great games are coming up, but a lot has happened here at MTSU. Noah, what do you have for the Big Blue Review?
This week on the Big Blue Review, we're going to hear from President Sidney McPhee as he makes a statement about MTSU concerning their conference realignment. And then also we're checking in on the Blue Raider basketball squads as both the men and women teams saw action for the first time this year.
The Big Blue Review.
MTSU President Sidney McPhee, after careful consideration, stated MTSU will be reaffirming their commitment to Conference USA. Conference USA offers a strong footprint in the South and Southwest, providing new opportunities to develop new regional rivalries, all while staying connected to traditional rivalries that MTSU fans want. President McPhee stated that he believes that the continued affiliation with the Conference USA offers our Blue Raider community the greatest opportunity for success, and he will enhance our fan engagement. The Blue Raider basketball season is back in full swing after Tuesday night action for both the men's and women's basketball squads, beginning with the Lady Raiders matchup as they took on East Carolina Carolina University, the Lady Raiders took an early lead in the first quarter and never looked back as the final score was 70-49. While the Lady Raiders turned the ball over 29 times throughout the four-quarter affair, leaders on Coach Enzel's Lady Raiders squad such as Courtney Whitson and Dor Saar stepped up in big spots. Whitson did not come out of the game until the fourth quarter and hit multiple threes to put the Raiders in opportune spots, and Dor Saar converted on her first 4-point play as a Blue Raider. And for the men's basketball squad, the narrative was more of the same as the Blue Raiders came out victorious with a 98-59 final score. Josh Jefferson finished 7 of 12 with 16 points on the night. The men's squad was able to score 47 points off Brishka University turnovers in their win over the Bearcats. Jefferson told us, "It's exciting knowing we have depth and strength. We can't wait to keep it going all season long."
About MTSU staying in Conference USA?
Well, Nick, especially for some of our more established sports teams such as our women's soccer, women's basketball, our men's tennis team, who have had success as the CUSA has been for the past few years, it's going to be a step forward for our program because, you've got new schools moving into the CUSA. We've had 9 teams from the past year that are going to be moved out by the time the 2023-2024 season comes around. And with those programs moving out and new programs moving in, MTSU is going to be able to work their way up the food chain a little bit, if that makes sense. And then, they're going to establish themselves as one of the dominant forces in CUSA if they haven't already. And for some of our under-established teams, it's going to be a great chance for them to say, hey, there's new guys coming in. We're the top dogs here.
Fresh meat. I
Absolutely.
like it. I agree with you 100%.
I will say I'm very interested to see the dynamic of Conference USA changing. Teams, for example, Charlotte, UTSA, Marshall are leaving, so a lot of things are going to be changing. However, we do have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more on Blue Raider Extra Point.
You're watching Blue Raider Extra Point.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
On Blue Raider Extra Point. It's time to go around the Conference USA. So Nick, take it away.
Yeah, so the first game is Old Dominion hosting FAU, and the second game is UAB on the road to Marshall.
Around the CUSA.
The 3-6 Old Dominion Monarchs host the 5-4 FAU Owls. Sophomore running back for the Monarchs, Blake Watson, has been spectacular in his last 4 starts. Watson has rushed for 4 consecutive 100-yard games. In the Monarchs' previous game, Watson rushed for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. For the Owls, coming off of a tough home loss to Marshall, are looking to get a bounce-back win this week. Will this successful run offense of Old Dominion lead them to an upset victory? It's a matchup you don't want to miss. As for the other game, the 6-3 UAB Blazers go on the road to face the 6-3 Marshall Thundering Herd. Both teams are bowl eligible with 6 wins and are looking to finish out the season strong. Senior tight end for the Blazers, Garrett Prince, has been a key focal point in this year's offense. While recording 7 touchdowns on the season, he is also averaging 77 yards per game versus conference opponents. As for the Marshall Thundering Herd, this defense will have something to say about that. In the Thundering Herd's previous game, the defense forced 1 fumble and 4 sacks. Marshall have 6 different defensive linemen with 10 or more sack yards versus opponents this season. This will be one of the more entertaining matchups of the weekend.
Nick, a lot of high-quality action around the CUSA this week. Talk to me about this Marshall UAB game. I know you've had this one marked on your calendar all week long.
Yeah, I really like this game a lot. Both teams are 6-3. I really like the way both defenses play, especially Marshall. Not hinting at a pick, but Marshall has a really good defense. So does UAB. UAB has a really good offense, but it's almost a coin flip at this point. Both teams are very equal. But UAB has a really good run offense, and they love a good play action every now and then. They'll toss one to their tight end, senior tight end that is, And hopefully Marshall can play some cover too.
Well, you talked about them being equal. They both come into this one 6-3. It's going to be like you said, a coin toss for sure.
Might as well. Get your little George Washington coin out right there, man.
It's going to be a close one. UAB coming off a big victory. Marshall looking up to tighten up on the defensive end just after last week's game. Definitely going to be an interesting one. However, let's go ahead and take a look at all the Conference USA matchups for this weekend. Let's pass it over to Ayana Bronner for this week's Blue Raider Spotlight.
I am here with DQ Thomas, a linebacker for the MTSU football team. And since the first game, in what ways do you think that you have improved your gameplay?
I guess just playing faster, knowing what I got to do, playing harder, and playing as a defense, getting the call out to my fellow D linemen, DBs, and just trying to play on all one accord.
Okay. And being ranked 4th in sacks and 2nd in tackles for loss, what things and what routes do you look for to put you in those positions?
I think it's all about preparation.
Okay.
I don't try to make nothing fancy. I just do what my coaches tell me and try to do it to the best of my ability.
How do you feel since your first career interception against Liberty?
It's my first one.
Yeah.
I would like more, but I try not to get big-headed off of it.
And I have one more question for you. Being a team captain, how do you handle the adversity of games not always going your way?
You just got to encourage everybody to keep their heads up, encourage everybody that it's going to get better, and a lot of it is not lying to them,
Right.
Don't lie and say it's going to get better. You're just trying to keep it real with you guys.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, DQ.
Thank you.
For the Middle Tennessee football team, it is all about having that spark of enthusiasm that keeps them going each and every time. And as DQ Thomas was saying, they are hoping to bring that same energy. This is Ayana Bronner, MTN Sports.
Thanks, Ayana. We'll be back with more right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
And welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. This week, Zachary Lone will tell us what MTSU needs to do as they take on FIU for this week's scouting report.
The Blue Raiders are back at home this weekend as they face off against Florida International. FIU is in the midst of an 8-game losing streak after winning their first game of the season. Something to watch out for in this game is the passing attack for the Golden Panthers. FIU is 3rd in Conference USA, averaging 297 yards per game through the air. MTSU, on the other hand, is 9th in Conference USA, allowing 245 yards passing per game. This is something to focus on Saturday. The Golden Panthers have a balanced attack though, so keep an eye out for running back Devontae Price. Price is having a good year this year because he is 7th in Conference USA in rushing yards per game with almost 73 yards, and he is 4th in the conference in yards per rush getting a little over 5 yards a carry. Forcing the Golden Panthers to be one-dimensional is key for the Blue Raiders this weekend. The Blue Raiders are looking to bounce back after last week, but they're facing off against upset-minded Florida International. If they win today, they become one game away from being bowl eligible. If the Blue Raiders can limit this Panthers offense, then they have a shot to do just that and get back to 500 on the year.
Thanks, Zach. After looking at the scouting report, what does MTSU need to do to succeed?
Well, my first key is focus on defense. FIU are 34% on third down conversions. That's not that great. MTSU's defense has been lights out all year, as we know. So it's just a recipe for success for MTSU's defense. My second key is trust in Vadiato. Obviously, Chase Cunningham out for the rest of the season. You know, it's almost like a click the reset button, you know? I mean, but you have to trust in your quarterback if you want to have success on offense. And for my third key is win out. MTSU only have 3 games left in the season. 2 of them are for sure going to have to be wins if they want to be bowl eligible. But I'd like to see 3 wins personally, just because, you know, with all this conference changing and whatsoever, and MTSU staying in Conference USA, you'd like to see the big dogs of the conference win out to assert their dominance, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, especially after taking a loss against Western last week. My first key for the Blue Raiders, stay the course. Even though you haven't been able to get into the win column as much as you would have liked to, especially like you're talking about being one of the top dogs in the CUSA, you still have to stay the course. For some reason, your defense and special teams unit have been playing superb football these past couple of weeks, so stay the course. My second key, take advantage on these opportunities that these special teams plays, that these defensive plays are creating for your offense. You've got to take advantage of those opportunities. Your offense, it's going to have limited chances out there on the field. And while it's out there, especially with a young quarterback who hasn't gotten a lot of reps, because let's face it, MTSU's gone through 4 quarterbacks this year, you're going to have limited reps and you're going to have some drives stall out. So take advantage of the chances that you get. My third key, overcome the odds. If you're MTSU, you're looking at a really beat up roster at this point. So you've got to overcome the odds in this one, especially being at home. Those are my keys for the Blue Raiders. Abigail, what do you got?
My first key is to take notes. You're suffering a huge loss from Western Kentucky. And surprisingly, MTSU had more possessions, which is something we haven't seen, but their mistakes, they proved to be costly, ending with 7 turnovers in that game. My second key, rely on the run game. Receiving game has consistently looked better, but only if the passes will be there, which we did not see Saturday. Peasant saw a lot of success rushing Saturday, and this offense definitely needs a spark. My third key, back to 500. This home game comes at a great time against FIU, coming off of that loss from Western Kentucky. You need to get off of that home crowd, get it all together, put it together with those 3 keys, and they'll have success.
Those are our keys for the Blue Raiders to be successful against FIU at home this week. We'll be back with more, including the picks, right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Extra Point. It is time for the picks. But before we do that, I have to introduce our very special guest, Coach Taylor from MTSU Women's Tennis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Are you ready for the picks?
Yes.
All right, it is time for Week 11. First up, Western Kentucky and Rice.
I'm on Western. Bailey Zappi, Jared Stearns, best 1-2 tandem. I don't see how people are not looking at this. All these NFL scouts looking at QBs for the draft. Bailey Zappi's not even on there. He's almost at 4,000 yards if he isn't already. That is unbelievable. I don't know the last quarterback to do that. Actually, I do, but not going to say it. I'm on Western.
You know why he's not on those NFL sheets?
Please tell me
Because
why.
they're in the Conference USA, and anything can happen. And when I say anything can happen, I mean Rice is beating WKU at home this week.
We're going to sell this later.
Sounds good. I'm taking the Owls.
I know I'm not supposed to like WKU, but at this point, I'm going to say WKU.
Oh, Coach.
So here's the thing. We don't have to like them, though.
Right,
we
that's
can just pick them for this game because I'm doing the same thing. We just saw an excellent Watch it. We saw an excellent Hilltoppers team last week at while playing MTSU. These two haven't played together since 2016. I have the Hilltoppers. Next up, Charlotte and La Tech.
You know, as much as I want to take Charlotte, I'm going to take La Tech. They've lost so much. But you know what? This is where they cut down the rope. And you know what? This is the win. This is the win that's going to turn their season around a little bit for what's left of it. So give me La Tech.
Well, for back-to-back matchups, I guess I'm going against the great Nick Frazier.
Hey, I appreciate the compliment, man.
La Tech has lost 6 straight. I think they make it 7 here.
I say Charlotte as well.
I have La Tech for this one. They're first-time opponents, but Charlotte has been struggling while away. Next up, FAU and Old Dominion.
You know, earlier, 2 weeks ago, I was in confusion picking Old Dominion. The second week, picked up a little bit of steam, picked Old Dominion again. Third week, third time's a charm. Give me Old Dominion. I love the way this run offense is. I think they can go do some damage in Conference USA.
I love that we have not had a matching pick yet. I'm taking FAU in this one. Clash of CUSA rivals here. I think it's going to be a defensive bout for sure. I'm taking FAU, though.
I'm going to take ODU.
Home field advantage comes into play. I have Old Dominion as well. Next up, Southern Miss and UTSA. Nick, take a second. It's going to be all right, but let's hear it.
Pause. I'm not taking Southern Miss in this situation. They haven't performed the way I thought they would. Their offense has kind of been very lackluster. UTSA, obviously, people that watch this show know they're my hot pick of the week. Coach Teo, you like donuts, right?
Yes.
Krispy Kreme?
Yes.
That's the Krispy Kreme hot pick of the week for me. I'm on UTSA by 50.
I'm getting sick of this Krispy Kreme talk on the show. I'm gonna make this short and easy though. I'm taking the Roadrunners in this one. They're ranked, and USM not ranked. So let's go with that.
UTSA for me as well.
This one's so easy. UTSA,
Yeah.
they're running, and I'm not going to be the one to stop them. UAB and Marshall.
You know, I hinted at this one. It was going to be a game of defense. You know, defense wins championships, as that saying goes. So, you know, Marshall, they've been playing well. So is UAB. I like UAB's play action. But Marshall, I don't know. They've just shown me they've been more complete recently. So I'm going to be on Marshall.
I've got to agree with you. I think the Thundering Herd are going to own this one at home this week. So I'm taking Marshall as well. Coach, who do you got?
Well, based on what you said earlier in your comparison of the previous games, I'm actually going to go with UAB.
It's a good pick.
Definitely. I think this one's going to be very close matched. However, I think Marshall statistically has this game put down, so I'm going to go with that. Next up, UTEP and North Texas.
You know, I've been burned on North Texas picking them in the show.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I have, badly. UTEP is 6-3, I believe. They're playing real well, but then they have those little slumps of going down. I'm going to take UTEP for this purpose only.
I think UTEP steals one on the road here. North Texas not showing a lot of signs of life late in the season. I think UTEP's still got a chance to make a bowl push, so I'm taking UTEP in this one.
I'm right along with them with UTEP.
They can make a push, but North Texas has this one. Last up, FIU and MTSU.
Oh, boy.
All right, here's the deal. People know I don't pick MTSU that often for some reason.
While we're in the Blue Raider Hall of Fame, yeah, they know.
I'm sorry, but you can count me in for this one. The last 3 games of the season are going to be blue.
The Raider train is rolling.
It's rolling, baby. Get the conductor going. It's going all the way.
Well, it should come as no surprise. I'm taking the Blue Raiders in this one as well. I hope it doesn't rain during the game, but I think lightning is going to strike.
Yes, Blue Raiders all the way.
I have the Blue Raiders as well.
Check out Blue Raider Extra Point on Instagram and Twitter.
So, Coach Taylor, I have to ask, with tennis, what are your expectations this upcoming season?
Well, we really want to show a lot of the development and mental toughness and emotional toughness that we worked on this fall. That we want to kick in the spring season.
Do you guys have like an extra standard for players that come back from like that super COVID year?
I guess my extra standard is they should know everything by now. So it should be pretty much straightforward for them what to expect from me as a coach and how to win matches.
Coach, you've got some experience now here with the Blue Raiders. What's your favorite part about being on the coaching staff, working with this team, coming back year to year?
Well, this team, basically right now, it's all my recruits, except for the twins, but they've had one semester before I got here. So it's great to have the team that I picked, and they trust me as a coach, and then I'm really seeing a lot of growth with all of them. So it's been really exciting watching them grow over the past, 4 months that we've been training, actually.
Speaking of growth, there's a lot of great things coming up for the tennis program, hosting the Conference USA Championship, which MTN Sports will be covering, but how excited are you about that?
We're excited about it. We were supposed to host last year, but because of COVID, it got pushed back, and then we went to North Texas. So now we're getting the chance to host, and actually with all the mix-up in the conference realignment, this is actually making it even more special that we're going to host this year.
Absolutely, but is there any more pressure that you're telling the girls, all right, we have to be the one that are going to the championship, it's going to be hosted with us?
Well,
what is that like?
Yeah, we're putting that pressure on ourselves, and they have it. They know, they're really excited and trying to gear up for that. And they
Murfreesboro is turning into a tennis town.
It is. It should be a great crowd there, and we're really looking forward to it.
A lot of improvements are being made. I know I'm personally very excited to see the Bernard sisters coming back as well. But Coach, thank you so much for joining us here today. We've really enjoyed having you.
No problem. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're tuning in every Saturday morning at 10:30 right here on True Blue TV.
Make sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter. We want to hear from you.
And if you missed this or any episode of Blue Raider Extra Point, you can find those on our website, MiddleTennesseeNews.net, or on our YouTube page, MTN Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
I like doing it.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.